ॐ भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवा स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us now pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all, thou art all, thou assumest all forms, thou art the origin and goal of all, thou art the self of all, thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful, may the wicked become gentle, may all creatures think of mutual welfare, may their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in the selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Today there will be the opening song, which is very much in line with the topic of discussion. It is an English rendering of a wonderful prayer called Shikshashtakam, 8 verses on education by the great saint or incarnation of God, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Peter will lead us into the song. It is a very simple tune. Please see if you can sing along. I am sure you can. When I was announcing the topic at the end of the service last Sunday, one of our members thought that this is about this fellow, that can I be a saint? And her immediate answer was, no fat chance. But it is not really just about this fellow, but about everyone. Can any of us become a saint? Can we become saints? And the answer, of course, if you think in terms of, whom the papal authority bestows sainthood, then obviously not while we are alive, posthumous maybe, because you have to die first. Then only your name can be considered for that sainthood, and that you have to, that goes through various levels, then maybe, but as such, very little chance for anyone to become saints here, from that angle, that to be a saint in the that lineage of saints in Catholic history, we don't have much of a possibility amongst us. But can we become saint if we look at the definition of what is saint in Vedanta or in these devotional scriptures that we see? What is a saint? In Bhagavad Gita also we have a very good description of it. I am going to quote something from Taittiriya Upanishad. Actually, the word saint comes from the Latin word, and that origin of that Latin word is Sanskrit word santa. Santa becomes saint, and then what is this santa? Santa word again comes from the root sat, means that which is the all-pervading existence itself. That gets called Sat. One name of God, therefore, for the Hindus is Satchidananda, the existence itself, knowledge itself, bliss itself. That is Santa. So, that the one who realizes that Sat, that existence itself, then that person gets called as Santa. So, this Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, describes that how one becomes a saint. That in nutshell it describes that in just one line. That, and I'll read it to you. Asanne vasabhavati asad brahmeti vedachet. If somebody denies the existence of Brahman or God, then that person becomes nullified. That person nullifies oneself by denying the existence of God. Because in Vedanta, the God is our own real nature. God is within all of us. Can a wave on the ocean deny the existence of ocean? If the wave on ocean denies the existence of ocean, then it is denying its own existence basically. So similarly, I denying the existence of the all-pervading existence, simply means that I am denying my own existence. So, asanneva sabhavati, that person denies the existence of oneself, becomes nullified oneself. Asanneva sabhavati, denying the existence of divine, all-pervading existence, simply means that I am denying my existence, which is ridiculous, because denying my existence, who is denying that? That's the question. That denier already gets asserted in this, and therefore I am denying my existence. It's just a contradiction. So therefore, this idea that the one who denies the existence of God denies one's own existence, becomes nullified oneself. But the one who realizes, experiences that all-pervading existence, asti brahmeti chedveda, that the Brahman is, the all-pervading divine is. If somebody is saying that, not on the basis of just belief, not on the basis of some reading in some book, but has experienced for oneself that yes, the existence of all-pervading Brahman, the God, I have seen that, I have experienced that, then that person becomes a saint. Asti brahmeti chedveda santamenam tato viduriti. That person gets called saint who has experienced the divine. And then when one experiences the divine, the life changes. Can I experience the divine? Well, why not? Why not? If that divine is my true reality, true nature, why can I not experience that? There is no reason that I will not be able to experience it. I can experience that, and therefore I have every possibility of becoming a saint. Each of us has the possibility of becoming saint, because the seed of sainthood is in each and every person. That is the meaning when Swami Vivekananda says, each soul is potentially divine. There is the divinity there, whether expressed or not expressed, whether manifest or unmanifest, the potential is there. And so, each of us has the capability of becoming a saint. So the short answer for this question, can I become a saint, is? Isn't? Is it? Yes? Yes. Say loudly, Yes. Yes. Assert it. There was a lecture given by one of our devotees, power of affirmation. So affirm it. Affirmation is very powerful. Let us affirm this, that yes, I can become a saint. Say, come on, repeat, I can become a saint. Yes, let us repeat it to ourselves. I can become a saint. That is the first step, to have this possibility strongly engraved on our heart, that yes, I can become a saint. This question crops up in the minds of many, and you see in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you read this question being asked to Sri Ramakrishna, not as can I become a saint, but essentially the same thing. Can one realize God while leading a normal householder's life? The normal life that we live, we do very many works here. We are busy taking care of ourselves, taking care of what is called our family, our society and so forth. All that we are busy with. Can we realize God while being in this busy life? And Sri Ramakrishna gives this very clear answer. Sure, you can, but you have to do something for it. One has to take up certain measures for it. And the first measure is, I must want to realize God. If I don't want to realize God, then who can bring that knowledge to me? If I don't want, that's it. It is, even if God knocks on our door, and if we see through the hole there is God standing there, we may not open the door. So that wanting has to be there, that I want God realization to come to me. There should be no ambiguity about it. I want God realization to come to my life. So this is the first step, that one must want it. And if we really want it, we take the measures to fulfill that want. Whatever we truly want, and we go to do whatever is needed for it. If I don't want, then I will find out excuses for not doing it. So if we want it, yes, the answer applies to those who for sure feel that, yes, I want God. That explicit answer should come from within. I want God. Implicitly, yes, everybody wants God, but without knowing that we want God, because everybody wants happiness. Everybody wants happiness, and that is another way of saying that we want God, because there is no other way that one can become happy in this world. Yes, friends, try as much as you want, but to become happy all the time and with fullest intensity, independent of the circumstances, is not possible unless one realizes the source of happiness, that is God. So, it is, therefore, implicitly we all want to be happy, to be free, to be all-knowing, all omnipotent, all that we want. What it essentially means is, I want God, only I may not be uttering that word God. Like one king was there, this story you might have heard, very nice story. He had a pet parrot and used to love that parrot a lot. And so he had appointed some people, very trusted people, to take very good care of that parrot, and had warned, if anybody brings me the news that the parrot has died, that fellow's head will be chopped off. Now those servants were taking good care of the parrot, but then as it happens, everybody has to die. So one day the parrot breathed its last. Now how to break the news to the king, because the one who goes to tell, that head would be off. So everybody was scared. Then they confided to the minister of the king. The minister said, okay, don't worry, I will take care of it. And then he goes to the king and says, oh my lord, what? Just your parrot. Hey, how is it? Okay, excellent. Is very serene. I just saw the parrot is looking extremely serene and calm. It is not uttering a single word. Seems to be fully satisfied. It is, in fact, looks to be in that state of deep meditation. Is not even breathing. Oh, is it so? And the neck of that the parrot is also like this, in resignation to the divine. That so it is such a wonderful thing to see that parrot. The king said, why don't you just tell in one word that the parrot is dead? Well, king, you said it. Your head should be off now, because you said that the parrot is dead. I didn't say that. So the point is that what all we want is actually, in other words, saying that I want God. But we are not open to say that. So, if I want happiness, everybody will say, yes, I want happiness. There is nobody who will say, no, no, I want misery. But what it actually means that I want God. If I want to go to the city where there is the Empire State Building, now obviously I want to go to New York, whether I use the word New York or not. It is clear. So it is similarly, these things are synonymous with saying that I want to realize God. But we should clearly know it, explicitly know it, and acknowledge it. Yes, I want that. Then must also that intensity should come, that I want nothing else. Because I want God, everything will be satisfied if I get God. And then all energies will get directed to that. The life will be tuned to that, because everything else is contained in this. Like yesterday I was telling about in the retreat, that if you see what Jesus mentions about it, first you seek the kingdom of God, everything else shall be added unto it. If you realize the truth, everything is added in it. If you realize God, nothing is left to be attained, everything gets attained. So one need not be worried that, well, I want to realize God, but first I want to do this, and then first I want to do this, and then after finishing all this, then I want to realize God. We are putting the cart before the horses. What Jesus said, you first realize the kingdom of God, everything else will be added unto it. And what we do is first do everything else, and then go to realize God. That doesn't happen, because you cannot get everything else first. In fact, none of those things are possible to be gained. They only keep on increasing the craving for more and more and more. So, as when we say that we want to realize God, that we want to become saint, basically, that thing must be understood properly, that should be the focus of my life. The more intensely we seek it, our efforts will be more and more directed towards that. As Sri Ramakrishna mentions in that conversation, it is at various points this question gets asked to Sri Ramakrishna. Every time he has given the answer a bit differently, pointing to the same truth, but in different, looking at the different people sitting around, he has given answer differently. That he said at one point there, in answer to such question, there is no problem if you are living in this world. After all, who lives out of the world? Everybody live in the world. So, no problem if you are living in the world. But let not worldliness enter you. That is the secret, friends. Let the worldliness not enter you. That he gives an analogy to illustrate it, that the boat is in water. Boat is not made to run on the streets, you see. It is, boat should be in water. Boat is in water, no harm in that. But if water is in the boat, if the water enters the boat, then it would capsize. So therefore, you are in the world is fine, excellent. Everybody is in the world. But let the worldliness not enter you. And that is where one has to be very cautious. Because worldliness, our pores, our sense organs are like our pores, holes. From these holes, the worldliness keeps on entering in the form of various attractions. I get attracted towards some beautiful face, I get attracted towards fragrance, I get attracted towards very nice musical sounds, I get attracted to all such things, and then worldliness enters in me. Instead of seeking God, I start seeking those things. And then, of course, there is, I really do not then want God. I want those things. And thus, I don't get it since I don't want it, basically. So, it is important thing is this, that we must want it. Then let us see also, and that is a beautiful description in Bhagavad Gita about it. We actually chant those verses in its English rendering many times, especially at our Universal Brotherhood Day, that describe the signs of the saint. Lord says that that's the man I like, I love. God loves that man. So it is described here. I will read for the sake of time, not the original verses, but only the translation. That what are the signs of such a person? That non-envious, adveshta sarva bhutanam, and does not become envious about anybody, does not hate anybody. That is the first sign. No hatred towards anybody, because now that person is seeing the same self in everyone. How can there be hatred? When you see that sameness or oneness, the first thing that you lose is hatred towards anybody. You cannot basically hate anyone when you see that this person and that person and that person, they are same. You do not become envious when you see the oneness. An example that I often give, your left hand doesn't become envious of the right hand. If the right hand is holding money and the left hand, does it look with envy to the right hand? This fellow is holding the money. No. There is no such envy possible where you see oneness. It is only when we see distinctions and therefore do not see God and therefore do not become saint is that we see this different from this, and that for a saint has to vanish. So it is, then what happens further? That Maitra Karuna Evacha, that is friendly and compassionate towards all beings, free from ideas of possession and ego consciousness, sympathetic in pain and pleasure, forgiving, always content, contemplative, self-controlled, of firm conviction with his mind and intellect dedicated to Lord. Such a devotee of mine is dear to me. That is what Lord says. Such a devotee is dear to me. So, these are wonderful virtues, everybody would agree. So, as we cultivate those virtues, what happens? Our march towards sainthood begins. Maybe I will not be able to become saint in one day, but I can begin my march. As I begin my march towards that sainthood, everybody has the potential to, just as everybody has potential to come here to Vedanta Society. So by taking a proper route, anybody can come. So in the same way, anybody can start cultivating these great characteristics. And what will happen thus? We will come closer and closer towards that sainthood. Further it describes, from whom the world gets no trouble and who gets no trouble from the world, who is free from elation, jealousy, fear and anxiety. He is dear to me. Such a devotee is dear to me. Independent, clean, dexterous, indifferent, untroubled, and discarding all endeavors. Such a devotee of mine is dear to me. All endeavors means all selfish endeavors are meant here. And it discards all selfish endeavors. So such a devotee is dear to me. The person, the one who neither rejoices nor dislikes nor grieves nor desires, who renounces good and evil. One may ask why he renounces good? Because good and evil are just the obverse and reverse of the same coin. So therefore renounces both, and who is devoted to me is dear to me. So alike to foe and friend, in honor and dishonor, in heat and cold, happiness and misery, free from attachment, alike in praise and censure, reticent, satisfied with anything, without a home, steady in mind, such a devoted person is dear to me. Of course, there are many things here which may demand explanation, but at this point, because we do not have all the time necessary to expound each of these verses, I am postponing that for some later time. In between, you can read the meaning and the commentary of Shankaracharya or Ramanujacharya and see that how these verses make sense, that the hidden inner meaning can be seen about these. So, but as we cultivate these virtues, and we see that the sainthood starts manifesting in us more and more. We become like saints, and we feel the sense of compassion for everyone. we feel the sense of friendship for everyone. We start, caring less about the change in the weather patterns or the change in somebody is friendly or somebody is foe to me. We do not take much cognizance of that, in the sense that my devotion to God, my inner awareness does not shift based on these things. So this is what is meant, that my steadfastness for holding on to God is constant, irrespective of whether people praise me for that or people blame me for that. Because you see that people will be praising or blaming. Whatever you do, there will be always somebody will be praising, somebody will be blaming. I had told one funny incident, that it is, I was coming in a train from the northeastern part of India, Guwahati to Kolkata. And the train was quite crowded, packed. And as we were traveling, the train started on time, but then got delayed. The cause of delay was there was a train derailed ahead of us, and so the traffic was disrupted, so there is delay. Then afterwards it started after about couple of hours of delay. Then again it stopped. Again it was announced there is another derailment. So again delay. Then after some time, again another train got derailed. Something was problematic there. So the derailment was happening, and I was seated there. Some passengers who did not like Swamis, they said, all this derailment and delay is happening because this Swami is sitting there. Because this Swami is in the train, that is why all these problems to our train. But then I didn't reply, but somebody else, that person replied on my behalf as it were. I didn't know that person. Oh no, it is because Swami is sitting in our train didn't get derailed, other trains got derailed. So, what I mean is that there will be praise, there will be blame. One need not get too concerned about it. A devotee of Lord doesn't get concerned about it, holds on to God in all circumstances. A question comes about, and that comes to many of us. And again in Bhagavad Gita there is a wonderful answer for that it is this question, Swami, the way I am leading my life right now, it is, when I introspect, it seems to be, it is all embroiled in all worldly pursuits. I understand that. And then it is impossible to extricate myself in this life. At least I will not be able to realize God. What I did in the past, the ghosts of the past, they are going to, torment me all through. So there is no possibility for me to become a saint, whether expressed or just within one's own heart. Many of us think in these terms that it is not possible for me. Look at the life that I am leading right now. So, and this is, although it appears to be a correct view, lurking behind it is, and since it is not possible, let me not make any efforts. That is the hidden idea, the lethargy, the inertia that is in us is making this point, that since anyway it is not possible for me to become a saint, Why worry about it? Let me lead the life that I have been leading. Just forget all these things. I am a common person. The saints, they are predestined to be the saints. I was not predestined to become one, so obviously I cannot become. So let me not bother about it at all. No, friends. The question is that if I am a sinner now, not a saint, because I do something which are not right, my conscience itself tells that I run after worldly things, worldly pleasures, and I justify that, well, after all, I am not a saint. So I will be doing that. So the answer is, because of that I am not saint. If I stop that, I will become a saint. Simple thing. So Lord, in Bhagavad Gita 9 chapters, that's a very beautiful verse that can tell us that the moment you decide that yes, I want to be a saint, and we all decided, isn't it? You announced in loud voice. What did we announce, Arundhati? Earlier, I want to become a saint. I have the possibility of becoming a saint. So I want to become a saint. If I want to become a saint, this simple thing, yes, I can become. The problem was I was doing something, and then that is why I was not a saint. Let me stop doing that. I was doing that because of ignorance. That's about it, you see. That ignorance is the problem. That is why Jesus said that, oh Lord, forgive those who were crucifying him. Forgive those, because they are doing out of ignorance. They do not know what they are doing. That is why they are doing it. So when the knowledge comes in, we see that that is not what we should be doing, and then we will stop doing it. So Lord says, apischet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha. That a person might have done many bad things, suduracharo, and many felonies and bad things, and all that might have been done by that person, but then has changed the path. The path has been now changed, is now put on the right track. Now, one should not look upon that person by the previous history, that that person had committed these crimes and these bad things. Well, okay, that happened, that's gone, that person has paid for it, that's it. The question is, does it mean that henceforth that person will not do any good thing, or will continue in the same way? See, when you are driving and then you think, probably I am not driving on the right track, probably I am going in the wrong direction, and you stop somewhere and confirm, am I on the right track? And then if they say, no, you are completely driving in the opposite direction, what do you do then? Continue driving in the same wrong direction? No, because of ignorance, I was driving in the wrong direction. The moment I understand, then I change the direction, start driving in the right direction. So, that is what happens. I drive in the right direction, and then I am on the track to become a saint. And Lord says there, sadhureva samantavyah, that person should be considered a saint, because he he or she driving in that direction is going to become saint. Looking at the past of that person, that should not be thought to be a sinner, because the ways have changed now. Now that person is a saintly person. That is how, everybody can become a saint in this manner. A person gets called sinner, not that the person as such is a sinner. Because of the sinful actions that the person is doing, you call that person a sinner. If that person is not doing sinful actions, will that person still be called a sinner? No. If suppose I fill poison in a cup, I am not going to do that, but suppose I fill poison in some cup, and then that cup will be called cup of poison. Now I wash the cup, throw away the poison, wash the cup thoroughly, and then fill it with, say, milk. What will it be called now? The cup of milk. After all, the content, that was giving it its name. It is similarly a person was filled with poisonous thoughts, evil thoughts that were giving evil actions. Now, that was all happening due to ignorance, and that can be changed. When you see that I was not right in doing all that, let me do the right thing. And then what will happen to me? I will start marching towards the sainthood. And the means, the opening song that we had, it very beautifully gives the meaning. What happens that ignorance goes, and with that the mighty, that forest fire of desire is quenched. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord and His glory, that the mirror of the heart may be cleansed of its dross. Imagine that it is like the dross on this mirror of the heart. What is the soap to clean that? The cleaner of that mirror of the heart is the name of the God. The name is identical with the one who bears the name. So, it is by, if you call the name, then the one who has that name looks up. Therefore, many times I take the name of the people that, hey, do you understand? Usually when I see that person a bit drowsy and sleepy and all that, is not paying attention, but then when I call the name, that person looks up. So, if I call the name of the God in me will get awakened. It is exactly like that. It is they chant constantly the name of the God, and then the mirror will be cleaned of all ignorance. And what happens because of the ignorance? We get the desires for all so-called worldly things, worldly pleasures. And then that is a mighty forest fire. It destroys our life, like the forest fires we read about in California and all. What a terrible destruction. So our life also gets destroyed by these desires. It is, don't think that those desires are our friends. That is a big mistake that we commit, that those desires are mighty forest fire of desire. And what will remove that? The name of the Lord. And then, how can we chant that name of the Lord? There are many beautiful hints given in that hymn, that do not just be egotistic. try to be humble. Humility is a great practice, so that you will see that what is here is also there. You can try to give honor, respect to others. I have seen many, who really practice this devotion and feel God. They give respect to others. It is obvious they see God in everyone and so respect that person as an embodiment of divine. So let us practice that. When we practice that, automatically we will see that the ego who prevents this wisdom and further that the ignorance gets intensified, that ego, let it be put down by the practice of humility and giving respect to others. And we will see in this manner, we will be slowly or fast, maybe depends on how we move. We will be moving towards Godhood and towards sainthood. I pray, I hope that each of us will get that intense desire to manifest this saintlyhood in us, and we will be right marching in that direction. Thank you, friends. We'll meditate for about 30 seconds, and then if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Then after that there will be the Arati, singing of Arati and that Vesper service. And then after that today there is a music concert. A wonderful sitarist along with a masterful tabla player. They will be performing downstairs. Srinivas Reddy, the sitar player, and Nitin Mitta, the tabla player. Both are really wonderful, and they have given concerts here previously. That will happen, and then there will be the soup supper. Yes, any questions? Yes, John? Well, yeah, thank you. Then later.
You could become a Santa by putting a thinking cap on?
Of course not. That is too simplistic a course, You can become a Santa maybe, but not a saint.
Do you feel that a lot of times people who are going from sin to saint, they pay a price with persecution in the world?
Well, the saints do get persecuted because they are seeing different from others, and we become suspicious of somebody who is not exactly doing what we are doing. So therefore they face persecution, but gradually there is the acceptance also. When they see that that person is actually doing something much better than what we are doing, and we should be deriving inspiration from that person rather than persecuting, then you see the acceptance. See, Jesus persecuted at one time, and now is followed, not persecuted. So it is in that way, you see the beneficial aspect of it, and then the persecution stops. Till then, yes, there is persecution. Yes, please.
This is more a comment. I'm thinking about what you're saying. I'm thinking about in the sense of who is a saint, who is not a saint. In the sense that when this original Christian scriptures were written, when Paul wrote to Thessalonica, he said, to the saints at Thessalonica.
Yeah.
And my understanding of that is that he was seeing the potential of those people rather than the level that they had already achieved. Because, perfection is something that takes lifetimes, not one, to begin with. But, and the fact that we're not saints, that we're not in union with God, is our illusion. Because we are in union with God, whether we think so or not,
Yeah.
whether we're aware or not.
Yes.
And what happened, I think, a lot in the Judeo-Christian tradition was we were taught we were basically evil.
Well,
We were
is...
taught that we had this great fall, and therefore we are no longer connected to God. We were disenfranchised, which was an illusion to begin with.
Well, that is, if we interpret it like that.
Yes.
The first two of your comments I fully 100% agree. The third about the scriptures telling that, well, you have fallen from God, so there is evil in you.
Right.
So that is a wrong interpretation
Yes.
of that whole idea. Fallen means still it is shown that you can regain it by it is only indicates the present state of affairs. That does not bar you from regaining that lost awareness of divinity.
And to say that one is fallen would have to denote that at one point you had
Not fallen, exactly. Yeah.
getting back to the reality.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, please.
Yeah, you were talking about, talk today about the name of the Lord.
Yes.
Increasing your awareness. And there's a lot of religious practices around that really focus on one incarnation. They really limit themselves to one incarnation. As a practical matter, as a Vedantin, is there an advantage to focusing on one teacher, or is the idea of multiple incarnations?
There is a great advantage in holding on to one, because then you can concentrate. That is the point. All are true equally, all are efficacious, but then hold on to one. For Hindus, there is this very beautiful doctrine of what is called Ishta, the chosen ideal. If you read Swami Vivekananda's very small book, Bhakti Yoga, there is a chapter on that, exactly on the point that you have asked. Wonderful, thank you.
Now, this is a little bit of a comment, but you're saying the sant is a Sanskrit word that became saint in Latin.
Yeah.
That's just an interesting thing to ponder, the continuity of language.
Yeah, exactly. And there are so many words, which are common in Sanskrit and in Latin, and from which these languages have been derived. Like simple word, patri, father. It is patri in Sanskrit, it is pitru. So, matru, matri. All these are very common, so these words, many such. In fact, you will find a list, since you follow internet and all that, you will follow a big list of such words in modern European languages which have their origin in Sanskrit. One may say that, well, they are actually from a common root, and thus it is, whether you call they are derived from Sanskrit or some common source. So let me read the upcoming programs. I request Vishwanath to begin his offertory, and coming Sunday, the discussion will be on visions of Holy Mother. The other programs during the week, that is Tuesday and Friday classes, they will go on as usual as at 7:30 p.m. Tuesday, the topic is the Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. and on Fridays it is Shvetashvatar Upanishad. There is going to be, as usual, every morning and evening meditations and chanting is allowed, is open for everyone. All are invited to join that, and that will go on in the week as usual. So that is nothing much for this in announcements right now. So we will go for the evening Vesper service.
Closing prayer.
Oh, closing prayer. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Closing prayer. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.